Hi, this is Sally Morgan, and this is Conversations with a Corgi, episode 13. I'm a physical therapist, a craniosacral therapist, and a TTouch practitioner for animals and people, and this is Tristan Corgi. He's a Corgi, hence we have Conversations with a Corgi. He's tired at this time of day often, so he's a bit sleepy. He's still recovering from his excitement at the Corgi Beach Party on Saturday. Today, we're going to continue our series of a review of TTouch. And we have already done the clouded leopard, the lying leopard, the raccoon TTouch, and we did the abalone, and today we're going to look at the tiger TTouch. It's another circular TTouch, and it is very similar to the other ones we have done. And I'm hoping that when you look at these, you can see that there are some subtle differences between all of these touches in their uses and how you do them. Just a review for those who are joining us for the first time. When you do a TTouch circle, you're imagining the face of a clock with the 6 pointing down. The clock is about a half to 1 inch across. So I'll just do one right here, a little clock here with a 6 here. You're going to go around the face of the clock and back to the 9. So you're doing a circle and a quarter. So when we talk about TTouch circles, we really mean a circle and a quarter. And we have found that doing 2 circles, 3 circles, kind of the body doesn't pay attention. And if you do only 1 circle without the quarter, it feels incomplete. Try it on yourself and you'll see that it feels very different when you do that circle and a quarter. Very important to pay attention to that. Also with TTouch, we talk about pressure, starting from a 1 and going to a 9. And we hardly ever use pressures over 6. And with dogs in particular and cats, we really don't use any of those stronger pressures. So the lightest touch that we do is a 1, and that's the lightest you can feel on your eyelid. And a 3 is what feels comfortable on your eyelid. So it's a little deeper. You're going to be indenting the skin when you do these circles. And then a 6 would be 3 times deeper than the 3. And the best place to practice that is on your hand. Try to get that exact light touch that you have on your eye comfortably on your arm or your hand, and then go 3 times deeper, and that's a 6. And it's still not a deep, deep touch. And partially why we have so many different touches is because the way your fingers are held really changes the depth of the TTouch. And so you don't need to use a lot of pressure necessarily, because you can change the effect by changing the touch that you're doing. So remember that our circles are generally clockwise. Sometimes we go counterclockwise. It's more important to notice what you're doing and check and see if that's the direction that you want to be going. So if you find yourself using your left hand and you're going counterclockwise, whereas with your right hand you were going clockwise, just check in and make sure you're not doing what your hand is trying to do rather than what the animal needs. And with this tiger touch, I'll just show you the differences. With clouded leopard, we're using the fingertips here, the flat parts, and the thumb in contact with the animal. Your hand is curved up like a paw, and you're just making a circle with the middle finger, and the others are following around. Lying leopard is a little bit flatter paw. You're using a little bit more of your fingers from there up and around the thumb part of your hand. So your pinky is still not really engaged because you're making that paw. And a lying leopard, all your finger joints are moving nicely. And then we talked about the raccoon touch, which is just the fingertips like a raccoon holds his food. And you're just using the very top part of your fingers, and for this you need a little bit short fingernails. And again, the middle finger is doing most of the motion and the other fingers are following around, and your thumb is a bit closer to your forefinger. With the other 2 touches, your thumb is about 2-3 inches away from your forefinger. And then with abalone, our hand is quite flat. We're using all of the outside perimeter of our fingers and all the way down your hand. Your hand's quite flat. And the motion is coming from your shoulder, so you're connecting with the skin like an abalone and going around that circle and a quarter with your whole hand. So with tiger touch, your hands are going to be similar to the way they are for raccoon, only your fingers are apart like a tiger claw. And the parts of your hands that are touching, again, are the fingertips and just the little side of your finger. And it's also helpful to have a little bit of a fingernail when you're doing the Tiger TTouch. The Tiger TTouch is what we use when we're introducing TTouch to a nervous animal, an animal that might be stressed or hyperactive, or even with animals that are aggressive. And I choose to use the word assertive instead, because even now, aggressive really isn't holding a vision for the animal to be different than how they are. And we like to give the animal the possibility to be seen in a different way. So assertive is a little bit more gentle word than aggressive. You can also use Tiger TTouch for an animal that lacks feeling in their body, not really connecting to their body, or an animal that has heavy muscles. It's also a great TTouch to use to relieve itching. So if you're working in a shelter, or if you've just rescued a dog that had, or a cat that had a pretty serious case of fleas or mites and they're itchy, this is a great thing to do with them, the Tiger TTouch. Because when you do the Tiger TTouch, you're not irritating the nerve endings. Whereas if you were just scratching, it would. Like if you've ever had poison ivy or something like that on your own body, you know how much you regret the itching later. So the Tiger TTouch is really good to do for insect bites and things like that. And an interesting thing to know is that the same nerve fibers carry pain as carry itching. So it's really important to be aware of that. When your animal is itchy, there's more going on with the nervous system. And TTouch is a great choice to bring relief to that animal without irritating the nervous system, and to also give them the sense that their itches are being calmed. And the same is true for you if you have a mosquito bite or something. So your hand's going to be curved like a tiger, and your fingers are separated like a tiger claw. And you're using a bit of a strong pressure. For Tiger Touch, we're using, a 2 or a 3 up to a 4, 5, or 6 pressure, depending on how big your animal is and what kind of animal it is. And the fingers are held perpendicular to the animal. So if this was my British Corgi, I'm in this perpendicular to him, as opposed to at an angle, or having my hand like this. So I'm perpendicular. So you're going straight in. And that makes the touch feel really deep to the animal. And the other interesting thing about the Tiger TTouch is that all 4 fingers are all at the same time making a circle. All their own little circles. See how that's just like a tiger claw? A tiger paw. And your thumb is not making a circle. It's sort of stabilizing your whole hand. It takes a little practice to get all 4 fingers doing circles simultaneously. So try it on yourself before you try it with your animal, because he might not be able to tell you he doesn't really like it. So the thumb, hold your hand in a steady place, and then your fingers are all going to move simultaneously. So this is what it looks like on this Corgi. Your hand, again, is like a tiger paw. All 4 fingers, and you're kind of using your fingernails a little bit, are making a circle and a quarter simultaneously. Now, I have used this touch often on kind of a nervous, wiggly lab or golden retriever puppy that can't really focus and hold still and pay attention. And if you're having that situation, you want to do these a little bit faster, just to get him to connect with his body. And then as the animal quiets down, you can do them more slowly. So let's try this on my Corgi Tristan. He's not very itchy anywhere. If you have a dog with a hot spot in the summer or something, Tiger TTouch is a great thing to do. Tristan, can you sit up, please? Are you falling off your pillows again, honey? Okay, we'll just try a little Tiger TTouch on the side of my dog. And he's got so much fur, and he needs it. It's another day when it's 8 degrees. We're having 2 feet of snow tomorrow, and he might have to wear his winter sweater. It's going to be so miserable. So I have my fingers separated, perpendicular to the Corgi, and all 4 fingers are making a circle at the same time. And again, make sure you catch the skin under your fingers so that you're not just sliding over the fur. Tristan, do you like the Tiger TTouch? He says, it feels kind of nice today. And some of these heavily coated dogs, like a husky, they don't always like to be brushed. Some of those northern breeds, the Malamutes and Huskies and things like that. So it's nice to do these Tiger TTouches as a way to get them used to the sense of a brush. And you can also kind of cheat at the end of your circle and just pull out a little hair before you move on to the next one. And a German Shepherd, for instance, like Corgis and Huskies, they really shed at this time of year. And this is a great thing to do to prepare them for brushing if they don't like brushing. Are you falling over? I don't do Tiger TTouch so much on my dog. He's very relaxed. He's not very itchy. Sometimes in the summer with the heat, he gets hot and itchy and he likes it. So today he's really enjoying it. I haven't done it with him probably in 6 months. Hi, Twist. So we use this a lot, as I said, with dogs that would be assertive or hyperactive. And again, you use lighter pressure and faster circles when you're working with that type of dog using the Tiger TTouch. And then as the animal responds, your circles will get slower and your pressure will get a little deeper. For heavily muscled animals, this is a great TTouch to do. For instance, if you have a big burly dog, with a lot of muscles, like a boxer or a ridgeback or something like that, maybe they had ACL surgery and they're itchy and want to scratch around their incision, and the Tiger Touch on their hind end can really bring them some relief so that they aren't as interested in biting. And that goes for any kind of dog that has an itchy surgical site. And you don't have to do, and I wouldn't do, the Tiger TTouch near the surgical site. Just anywhere on their hind end is a good way, because it just brings the sense of scratching to an area that's itchy. And all those nerve fibers are connected, and it makes a big difference. We also use it for itchy animals with a pressure of a 3 to a 5. We use it for nervous animals with a pressure of a 2 to a 6. And for stressed animals, a 2 to a 5 pressure. So it's slightly less pressure for a stressed animal than for a nervous animal, because a stressed animal is anxious and not really focusing. And a nervous animal is more afraid. Not that anxiety doesn't also come from fear, but there is a slight difference between nervousness and stress. And you'll be familiar with that with your own dog. So these are some of the great uses for the Tiger TTouch. And tomorrow we'll have one more circular TTouch that we'll review, which is the Bear Touch. And where I live here in Massachusetts, we have lots of bears. So they're starting to come out, although if I were a bear with 2 feet of snow coming tomorrow, I'd go back in and hibernate for another week or two, even though the first day of spring is next week. So, and I think bears all over the Northeast are saying the same thing, but they do start to come out around this time of year. So it's a nice thing to remember them with a Bear TTouch. And we'll be doing that tomorrow, and that will wrap up our review of some of the circular TTouches, and then we'll move on. In theory, I won't be doing this tomorrow because I should be at my other job, but I think that that will not happen because of the terrible storm we're having. So either Tuesday or Wednesday morning, I'm not sure what, depending on the storm, at 8:25, I'll see you for Conversations with a Corgi for our final look at some circular TTouches with a Bear TTouch. Also, I've discovered that my website seems to still be somewhat functional, but don't trust an email going through that site at this time. And please email me at my other address, which is sallymorganpt@gmail.com. And Tristan's ready for a nap. I am off to teach yoga to the senior veterans in Holyoke, and that'll be a really fun time. I always do TTouches with them in the form of a heart hug at the end of class, as we will with you today. So place your hand on your heart and imagine that clock with the 6 at the base. And you're just going to take a deep breath in as you make a big circle. And exhale as you come around the circle. And it's so nice to think about 3 things you love about your animal when you do this, or things you're grateful for. And as I do with my veterans, I try to ask them to remember 3 things that they like about themselves. So thank you for joining me this morning, and we will be back either tomorrow or Wednesday at 8:25 for Conversations with a Corgi, where we'll look at Bear TTouch. Thank you for joining us today, and stay warm in the terrible big snowstorm we're having tomorrow on the East Coast.